welcome to Adamant Lives, episode 11, Death by Appointment. This is the episode where I thought about changing the lyrics to the intro for the lols, but within a few minutes I remembered that A, I'm shit at that sort of thing, and B, that I'm shit at that sort of thing, so I decided against it, for all our sakes. We open on a blonde hooker and a French guy. As they're both appearing in the opening scene of Adamant Lives, it's safe to assume that the guy will die in 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Damn, I'm good. Adamant, where the presence of a vagina might as well be horns and a pitchfork. Adam indulges in the classic British tradition of trying to stab his manservant, while Sims is trying to avoid being stabbed. It's fortunate that he's such a dab hand with a feather duster. Pre-freezing, I'm pretty sure Adamant got through as many as 10 manservants a year. A government guy turns up, so the deaths in the following 46 minutes are officially sanctioned. Let's just hope he doesn't murder anyone important. Again. The French guy was the latest in a long line of dignitaries to be killed, so they suspect murder, and the same person's behind all the deaths. Now, they don't really talk about most of the others, but they do mention that one of the guys jumped off a balcony. Meaning I can think of two possibilities. One, the killer got bored of being good at their job and making the deaths look like suicide and just decided to start shooting people. Or two, the government is just assuming that all the deaths are connected whether the evidence supports it or not. Either way, there's an Adamant afoot.
Unfortunately, your methods tend to be rather final.
Final?
Well, you see, we never get a chance to bring the blighters to court.
And that's how he likes it. I do like the fact that the show felt the need to hang a lampshade on his usual death toll, though. I hear the criminals of London call him Cafarak Gatry, or the Destroyer of Worlds in Old Khaled. But because he's a wuss and the government's grown tired of dealing with all the crap that comes with killing hundreds of people, innocent or not, in the Call of Duty, he wants Adamant to use his brain rather than his sword. I really wish he'd just take that literally and beat people to death with his brain. But alas, I'm sure this means he'll just think of pointy things other than his sword he can kill people with. So the government guy leaves him with a file on the dead men and a rose that all of the dead guys had on their lapel. Because the police couldn't think of any way that the roses could possibly be connected. The police sound so fucking terrible that they couldn't work out what happened to the crime scene that included 3 dead people, a bloody chainsaw, and a screeching large man in a skin mask. Anyway, the government guy leaves and Miss Jones comes to visit.
Sims! What do we know about roses?
I never get any, if that's any help.
I'm sure for a split second there Adamant thought he was having an opium flashback and thought Sims had mutated. She tries to shoehorn herself into the story. Adamant tells her to fuck off. So far, so usual. Sims is told to check each of the florists in the city to see where the rose came from. You know, the sort of job that the police would have done if they weren't too busy asking a man covered in blood and screaming, "I'm glad I killed the bastard," exactly how the dead man he was found with had killed himself.
It's extraordinary. As soon as I appear, he disappears.
Extraordinary, miss.
So, being the world's greatest detective of the 19th century, Adamant is headed to the scene of the latest murder. And I might not be Adamant, but I'm not sure the doorman's story quite fits. He says the French guy was nervous about seeing the hooker.
Yes, a woman. Bit nervous about it, he was.
When one thing that everyone who pays attention to stereotypes knows is that Frenchmen are never nervous about prostitutes. Still, the end of the scene gives the guy the chance to be weird around money. I bet he has fantasies about checkbooks and lingerie whipping him with twigs. So by moving a magazine in the room of a murdered dignitary, Adamant finds a clue. A clue that the police missed, because they're fucking stupid. A business card belonging to Eve Escorts. Damn it, that name is almost worth making fun of. And the police who missed it were apparently too busy using hula hoops, or screaming at a Beatles concert, or doing something equally 60s to do their fucking job right. And my Adamant sense is tingling.
You know, you'd be quieter if you had your sinuses attended to.
The fight's over pretty quickly, and through a mix of the theatrical staging of the episode and Adamant having never deliberately let anyone live before, the guy manages to get away. The one time you don't just kill the bastard and he fucking runs off. Where's the gratitude? I really hope this means your experiment with not killing anyone has been deemed a failure and dropped like some guy trying to assassinate the king, i.e. from a building. Anyway, who wants some vintage 1960s racism? I knew you did.
But I am only interested in babies in the earth.
They're still phoning up florists for the type of rose. Apparently it's quite rare. The racism was because, well, they thought it'd be funny. Eventually they managed to track all the roses to the Eve Escort Agency. A group so bad at covering up all their crimes that if they operated in a city where the police weren't in danger of locking themselves in their own police cars on a daily basis, they'd have been arrested before the murder spree even began. If you were an evil escort agency that murders your clients, then why the fuck do you A, give out flowers to your customers, B, give out very fucking distinctive ones that literally no one else uses, and C, not fucking pick the flowers off the bodies after you kill them? This is stupid! And because Adamant found the card, which is enough evidence to go after them, the racism was entirely pointless. Well, it was the 1960s. Not having racism was more likely to be seen as pointless.
You know, I think it's time I came face to face with Eve.
Statue tits. Damn it, no statue vagina. My adult shit and kids TV card set still isn't complete. Now, you might think that the idea of sexuality and the relationship between Adam, the customer, and Eve, the hooker, wasn't on, but if you go with the original version of the Adam and Eve story, Eve was created because Adam's first wife Lilith was too strong, and Eve was created to be subservient. While Lilith became a wind demon, who constantly gave birth and her children were constantly killed because the Bible's fucking weird. Anyway, Eve was made to be subservient for Adam, so the choice of name is actually quite apt, but I don't think the writers put that much thought into it. And massive flowers on the walls. This just screams symbolism! No. Please don't. The walls are covered in symbolic vaginas the size of pool tables. You'll give yourself an aneurysm.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Floor decoration.
That's better. This scene is like a greatest hits of the episode so far. Adamant smelling sinister flowers. A villain's complimenting him on his suit. And now we have someone who I originally thought was trying to outgay Roger, but then I realised he's just very, very British. He's like a Peter Sellers character mated with a Graham Chapman character, and they had a deformed freak baby who's recently retired from the British military.
Mr. Adamant requires an escort for this evening.
I see.
So the obvious villains ask who recommended their company, and he says that it was the French guy that they murdered. I suppose this saves time, so they can work out he's there to investigate them in moments rather than hours. But I don't understand why I didn't just walk in there, say his guy's name, point at them theatrically, and scream that they're murderers.
Villain! Murderer! Doctor!
I suppose there's no sport in that. They ask him all sorts of really dull questions because the episode isn't going to quite last 50 minutes on its own. They want to know his age and confirm that he lives in a multi-story car park. If they hadn't already decided that they're planning to murder him for snooping, I'd wonder if the story was doing this to convince the villains that Adamant's insane. Though I'm not really sure where the story would have gone after that.
If you'll excuse my saying so, darling, you're hardly our type.
Wow, for once Miss Jones actually has trouble getting an undercover job. Reality called and the show actually picked up. But the show immediately slams the phone down again and threatens to call the police on Reality because the villains see Miss Jones avoiding Adamant and deduce that she knows him. And therefore has to be employed or imprisoned. They weren't really very clear. And I suspect it'll be a scene or two before I find out which.
Ah, Sandra, take Miss Jones into the briefing room, will you? And then I'd like a word with you.
For escort duty.
Oh, but of course, darling. Underneath that extraordinary outfit, I'm sure we'll find something worthwhile.
Oh, that was quick. So they quiz her about Adamant and she overhears that they're planning on murdering him, which I thought was pretty obvious, really. So she heads back to warn him and Sims. Anyway, fuck it, I'm not worried, and anyone else who watches this show shouldn't be either. Why? Because when the characters in a show casually talk about how invincible the hero is...
But miss, Mr. Adamant always wins.
That's officially your cue to stop being worried about the safety of the hero and instead wonder how he's going to kill the villains. Especially when the villains are Barbara Cartland, as played by the woman from The Good Life, and Anticlimax from Asterix and Britain's Moustache, who gained sentience.
Sims! Sandra Webb happens to be young, sophisticated, and very attractive. Now, what's Adam's big weakness?
Oh, fuck, yeah, she's right. He might be knocked unconscious again. Sandra the escort's taken Adamant dancing. And as you'd expect, his formal style of dancing isn't quite the usual for this time and place, so she suggests another way.
Now that we don't wear crinolines, you see, it's quite acceptable.
Yeah.
There. Isn't that better?
They dance, and Adamant gets so turned on that his upper lip gets almost 0.3% less stiff. Apparently the blood has to come from somewhere. He's leaving her home when she's about to kill him with a concealed gun, and...
You know, it really is a dreadful pity that we shan't be able to do this again.
I trust everything is all right.
Yes, fine. Good night, then.
Our hero is saved by his obsession for checking through women's bags for firearms. Apparently, he's finally learning. Still, he found her charming company, and I'm sure he'll happily let her knock him unconscious later on. So, the villains are trapped in a fractal pattern of people failing to kill other people, because while the woman was failing to kill Adamant, the guy who Adamant failed to kill earlier was failing to kill Miss Jones, who cunningly decided to hang out with Sims all night in Adamant's. the genius. Okay, so what exactly is the villain's plan? Well, they sell shares to the businesses of people they plan to kill, confident that the value will drop once they die. Okay, but there's something fucking surreal going on because they don't actually own the shares that they've sold.
Von Ryson's companies are perfect for our operation. With him dead, the shares will fall to a fraction of their real value.
Pamela, I have just spent the past 4 hours selling Ryson shares all over Europe. Shares we do not own.
How the fuck does that even work? As far as I can tell, their evil plan is they sell the shares, kill the boss of the company, and once he's dead, buy the shares back at a cheaper price and therefore make profit. I know fuck all about stocks, but could someone please tell me that this thing is as stupid sounding as I think it is? They're not even planning on killing the guy for a few days, and they're already selling shares that they don't actually own yet.
I still don't see how you can sell shares you don't even own.
Because by the time we have to deliver them, Von Ryson will be dead and we can pick them up anywhere for next to nothing.
But surely if you're going to use the time it takes to transfer ownership and stuff to your advantage, then transferring the shares from you to the new owner, you'll have to wait just as long to actually gain the shares after he dies. I.e., you're fucked because the new owner will want the shares from you before you even get them yourself, whether he dies or not. Fuck it. I'm going to assume this is much of a relationship to real stock trading as Sweet Smell Disaster has to detergent companies. I.e., it happens, but the government hushes it up a lot. So, before they kill the guy for the stocks, they need to kill Adamant and Miss Jones, because, to be honest, from my point of view, it just looks an awful lot like they decided they wanted to. So, like all 1960s crime dens, this one has no security that can stop the Adamant-shaped wrecking ball of justice.
I warned you about those sinuses, my friend.
Wonderful. The whole last scene was the muscle having to be talked into trying to kill Adamant because unlike everyone else, he actually realised how dangerous he is. And when offered enough money to try, which is 20% of whatever money they're going to magic out of thin air, of course he's dead within seconds. As he knew he would be. The moral of the story is when you're being asked to do the impossible, a fuckload of money won't help you once you're dead. Anyway, the muscle's dead, he is the villain's at his mercy, and we've 8 minutes left in the episode. What's the chances that Adamant will be knocked out? Fuck, I am good. Because Miss Jones is still sort of working for them, even though everyone knows they're evil, they tell her to go pick up a guy for a night out. The German guy that they plan to murder. When actually one of the other women is going to meet up with the German guy, and Miss Jones is only going to find Adamant and the villains in a hotel room.
You're 5 minutes late, you know.
So why did you tell her she was going to meet up with a real guy instead of just making someone up? She could have easily looked at the work log or something. But these guys are so stupid they probably write down Tuesday, 8 PM, kill Miss Jones. And she'd be stupid enough to think that kill is a euphemism for something that most clients pay extra for. And it's a different Miss Jones. Yeah, although everyone's being pretty stupid, it's only at this point, a few minutes from the end, that everyone becomes completely inept. They tie Miss Jones to Mr. Adamant and leave them alone in the room to talk and try to escape. And the hooker, who's been paid to be charming and to lull men into a false sense of security, just sits there making faces like this.
It is a bit tricky, but we manage. Sandra should have called by now.
I quite agree with you, darling.
I can't help but think there's a couple of things we didn't do, darling. A couple of things we didn't maybe kill. Like in the room next to us. A couple of things tied to chairs and struggling. Oh well, could be anything I suppose. Uh-oh, he robbed him of the kill. Adamant won't like that.
Adamant, are you all right?
Perfectly all right, Sir Nigel. There are your scoundrels. One more remains.
Wait a minute, man! Damn it all. You can't go running round London cutting them down like daffodils.
Quite right, guy from the start of the episode that we'll probably never see again. Though, how the fuck did you manage to visit right then? How the fuck? Were you told by Adamant? If so, then why did you go alone? Did you go as a customer? If so, you could power a small infinite improbability drive in the strength of that coincidence. Anyway, I'm glad the government's beginning to take Adamant's bloodlust seriously. I just hope that they take this guy's psychic powers just as seriously.
We like to see our clients safely home.
As you wish.
Adamant.
At your service, madam.
So, with that last bit of theatrical unlikeliness, she's denied the chance of an honourable death in combat with Adamant. And the episode ends, like almost all the others, with these words.
Hey, Mr. Adamant, wait for me!
This episode's a bit meh. Like I mentioned earlier, it feels a bit like a best-of compilation of stuff from previous episodes. Or a join-the-dots puzzle of Adamant. Maybe it's better than I'm giving it credit for because I'm seeing it after all the others, but it feels a little bit tired and formulaic. It's okay, it's not as weak as Allies Not Always With You, but it's not required viewing by a long shot.